guys. Hello, hey guys. So it's me, Financial Missy here online with you back on a Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. So today it'll be just me alone because my partner, the tree engineer, is currently away on a mission. So drumroll please, just me here. So if you guys can hear me loud and clear, please type in the chat that you guys can hear me loud and clear, right? So although it's just me today, I'm pretty sure that the trade engineer has actually prepared for us great content to actually share on his view for this particular stock that we are going to talk about today. So rest assured, both technical as well as fundamental stock analysis will be covered. So for today, what are we going to talk about? I'm sure you guys could have seen from the description already. Today we are going to talk about this black horse, which is called Nikola. So I'm not sure whether anybody actually hear about this stock before. It's like in the market we always talk about Tesla, we always talk about Nio, but how many of us actually heard about this particular stock called Nikola, right? So without further ado, let me just go through Nikola for you guys. Um, all right, cool. Right. So for Nicola itself, right, on Friday, he actually dropped another 0.44 cents. So which means sorry, $0.44, which means you see on Friday itself, you see a $5.53% drop, And this particular stock actually end up is actually closed at $7.52. $7.52, sorry. So for Nicola itself, right, what is happening to Nicola? Because Nicola itself is not a penny stock, it is not a small cap company, it's actually a mid-cap company. So what is Nikola? So why is a mid-cap company actually only worth $7.52 at the end of the day last Friday? Let's just take a look at the stock in detail. In terms of micro analysis, I'll not be going through. I've been going through week on week, so I'll just skip this part. And what about the indicators? What's the latest indicator for S&P? Is the market finally turning bearish that we are going to look at that shorting the market, or are we just going to hold for this particular point in time? Very simple. Look at the last few months, it's always on the downwards trend. You see it now. It's very clear cut that medium trend has already changed, with the purple line being below the blue line itself. But the thing is that the long-term trend has not changed. So it's not fair to actually say that the market is currently bearish. But nevertheless, we know that the market is currently on a downward trend. So if you guys are long-term investors out there, or if you guys are value investors out there, it is time for you guys to actually look at your portfolio, see whether there's any need for any modifications and tailoring and what's not, and also to actually add on the watch list to see what is the next upcoming stock that you guys are interested or excited to purchase for long term. So it's a time for us to actually consolidate ourselves to actually see whether is our portfolio currently in alignment to our own goals and desires. Yeah. So what does Nikola do? Nikola is actually a technology innovator and integrator that works to develop energy and transportation solutions. So it works via two units, the truck and the energy. The truck unit itself develops and commercializes battery, hydrogen electric, and battery electric semi-trucks. And whereas the energy component actually constructs a network of hydrogen fueling stations and offers this battery electrical vehicle charging solutions for both fuel cells as well as battery electrical vehicles. So it's very cool. It's actually in the sustainable energy sector, of which it has good future to actually to venture and to prospect in. But how is it doing financially? I think this is a very important question to ask, knowing that yes, energy, clean energy companies has future, but how is it doing financially? Is this company financially strong enough to even reach the future that we are talking about, right? So let's look at the fundamentals of which and comprises the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. So it's very clear cut. As for the income statement, total revenue is declining year on year, net income declining year on year, and then the profit margin is currently zero. So, based on the income statement itself, am I comfortable? Not really. Let's look at the balance sheet, right? We know that the company is not earning, yet the current ratio is 2.9. Okay. Debt to equity ratio is 3.96. So this company is not earning, it's in a lot of debt. Red flag there, yeah. Price to book ratio 4.38 just means that this company is actually pretty much overvalued at this particular point in time. And what about the cash flow? Cash flow from operation declining. That means the company is not growing as big as we expected it to be. Cash for investment also declining. Cash from financial is unstable. That means, what do I mean by unstable is that actually, it's on a very, I mean, it's on a upward trend, then suddenly it went down, then suddenly it went back up. So is it really, am I really very comfortable to invest in this company, especially when the free cash flow is actually declining year on year? Nah, there's too many red flags already in this financial fundamentals for this particular company. So if you guys are actually interested in looking at Nikola, probably not, unless you guys are actually keen on doing like a short-term trade and what's not. But of course, with regards to trading, with regards to technical analysis, we will look at it later on. So hold your horses, guys. Right. So what about valuation wise? According to all the cash flow statements or whatever techniques of intrinsic value analysis I could find out there, there is not much of a valuation for Nikola at this particular point in time. In fact, Nikola itself, right, the stock, right, actually peaks in 2020 June, and after that, since then, it's on a very steadily downtrend. So is it a really good time to enter Nikola? I'm pretty sure that by now you guys have know that you want to use technical analysis to go in, but fundamentally wise, if you guys are just investors out there, fundamentally wise, are you all confident of entering Nikola? I'm not sure about you, but I'm personally not. Right? So what about technical analysis? Look at this thing, this particular I actually, yeah, look at this particular chart itself. I didn't use the middle term indicator, rather I used the SMA 100, 200. It's a long-term indicator, and you can see that the 200 line, the blue line, is above the purple line, which means to say this particular stock currently is on the long-term downtrend. Regardless of short-term, medium-term, long-term, if you put in your indicators, you will know that this particular stock is in the downtrend since 2020. So it's a very big red flag over there. As investors, do you want to invest in good companies or bad companies? And the easy answer is always investing in good companies, because good companies has potential to grow. Bad companies, you do not know what is the potential. The potential there is actually uncertain, right? So that is one. Number two is you want to invest in companies that are having the momentum upwards or downwards. Do not forget that, as I always mention again and again, is that companies, right, who are not profiting as much, and if the stock is on the downward trend, what goes lower can always go lower. So how big is your mountain out there that you are so confident of going in and in and in every time the stock actually dips? It takes a lot of confidence and conviction to enter such a company. So for investors out there, I wouldn't suggest that you actually, um, go in go in this stock anytime soon, until when this particular stock has a change of the reversal of the momentum. If otherwise, what goes lower can really go lower. What goes higher has a higher tendency to go higher. So based on this chart itself, I actually listed two major issues already: short, medium term, long term. The trend is bearish, and currently this particular stock has a historical low stock price, which means to say when the stock actually, even including the price of Nikola when it's actually IPO, right, is even higher than currently it is. So now Nikola is actually, you know, lower than what it originally is. So I do not know for you guys out there, but I think on my personal perspective is it takes a lot of guts to actually, you know, be confident in investing this particular stock at this particular point of time. So please do your own due diligence to whether you think that it is a stock for you or is it not for you, right? So yeah, so whatever I just shared earlier, regardless of the fundamental analysis or technical analysis, there's one thing I really want you guys to bear in mind is that whatever I shared is just for educational purposes only, for your own consideration. Please do not take my words for real, and please do your own due diligence, right? It's very important to do your portfolio size management such that if you guys are looking at, you know, investing in black horses and all, it must be companies that you are convicted and convinced of the growth potential. I cannot stress that enough, because for any investors to actually profit in the market out there, you really need the conviction and confidence to invest and be able to actually decide your entry price, your exit price, and make money out of the market regardless of the market volatility. So I don't want to stress there that please do your own due diligence, and before you enter any trade, please understand your own strategy of entry, strategy of holding, and also strategy of exit, right? So if you guys are okay, please type in the chat that everything's all right. Okay, can. So I am actually okay. So I think our dear trade engineer has actually something in place for us as well. Just give me a minute. Let me share what is his view on this particular stock. It's so exciting. Okay. Where is it? Okay, I guess we got some technical issues now. All right, it's okay. Okay, let me just share my screen. Okay.
Welcome to another session of stock picking with me, the trade engineer, as well as FINANCIALMissy. So, at this point, I'd like to, actually apologize to everyone because I'm unable to actually make it live for this session. So, this is actually a pre-recorded video. Yep. But don't worry, I will try to join the next session live. Yep. If I can make it, right? But, as always, right, we do this every week. So I promise to give all you content like every week. So that's why I'm actually doing this video, right? Even though I cannot make it, in the actual live session. Right. So today, right, we are actually, talking about another company, right? So, in my these slides down here, right? Basically, I mentioned that, we talked about Tesla, right, and Nio very recently, right? But, is there, right, another similar company, right, that might actually run in the very near future, right? So is there actually potential in this company? And, will it be poised for further growth, right? So if you know which company I'm talking about, right, do leave your comments, in the comment box, right? Yep. So this is actually a company that not many people might have heard of, right? So it's actually called Nikola, right? The ticker symbol NKLA. Right, but before we start the session proper, right, and before I actually begin, if you are actually here with me and FINANCIALMissy, right, do give this video a like, right, so that we know that you are here with us. Yeah, and before I actually talk about Nikola, right, let's, as always, do a brief recap of our previous stock, right? So in our last week video, right, we actually talk about this stock called Nio, right? So if you have not seen our video, right, do check out our last week video for more details of our sharing. So this was chart I shared for Nio last week, right? It's on the daily chart. And I did draw these lines, right? A downtrend line as well as the support line over here, right? And we have the RSI as well as the MACD, right? So you can see that the price was trading below this downtrend line, and it seems like it was being supported by the support line, right? But on the MACD side, it was a tad negative, right? You're still in the negative region. So yeah, that's what we saw, right? We also mentioned a bit on the bullish divergence, the slight bullish divergence at the double bottom, right? So there is the double bottom here and the slight bullish divergence with higher RSI, right? Higher low being formed, but the lower low in prices, right? Slight divergence, right, over there. And it looked like it was supported by the horizontal support, right? But we don't know whether that support will actually hold, right? So that was the concern then. And it's still trading below that downtrend line. As mentioned, the daily MACD is still negative, and as always, the overall market sentiment is still volatile, right? So what I mentioned last week, right, was basically, right, we should adopt a wait and see approach, right? So only, right, if the price continuously breaks above the downtrend line and the MACD turn positive before we can enter, turn bullish and enter a long position, right? But if it actually breaks through the support line, we should actually wait, right? So this was the conclusion then. But what happened, right, ever since then, right? So we had 1 week of trading. So let's see what happened after that, right? So this is the updated daily chart, right, for Nio. And you can see, right, the price is still trading below this downtrend line, right? And in fact, this is the same support level, the same horizontal support that was previously supported, right, last week. But in the next few trading days, the past week, right, it actually broke below this horizontal support, right? It was some support here, right? It actually break, there was a green candle here, right? So it was, price tried to be supported, but eventually feared and break down below, right? And you can see that the MACD is still on the negative region. It hasn't turned positive in the past week, right? So let's go through the points again, right? So first of all, it actually broke this horizontal support, right? So that is a bearish sign. Continue to trade below this downtrend line, right? It hasn't broken beyond this downtrend line. So there's also bearish as well. And yep, it's still negative for the MACD, right? No crossover seen yet. So that's the third bearish sign. So what can we conclude, right? With all these indications so far, right? So my opinion here, right, is that we should stay out of any long trades, right? For now, till we see more confirmation signals. Yeah, but of course, this is just my own opinion. Just like add a disclaimer down here once again, that this is not a solicitation to buy or sell Nio or any other instruments that I'm going to discuss in this presentation, right? So do your own due diligence, right? Be very mindful that the current period is very volatile, right? So you have to do your homework. Right. So now that concludes the quick recap for Nio. And just like pause here and urge everyone, right? So if you are actually you are still here with us and you like our sharing, right? Don't forget to click the like button or click that love button, right? So that we are adding value to you, and we shall continue sharing such content with you every week. And now, right, let's move on to today's stock pick, right? Today's stock pick is Nikola, right? Ticker symbol NKLA. So over here, right, we see an overall price chart for Nikola, right? NKLA, right? So you can see, right, it's actually it actually rose quite a bit, right? previously, back in time, right? But ever since then, right, it actually dropped a very significant amount as well, right? So we look the numbers in, right? So it actually hit a peak, right, on 9th June 2020 at a price of $93.99, right? And fast forward 2 years, right, until now, right? On 11 March, right, the last trading day, right, it actually dropped to only $7.52, right? So we work out the math, right, it actually dropped by a mind-boggling 92%, right? That is a staggering decrease. And you might be wondering, right, why, right? For those of you who haven't been following this stock, right, you might be interested, why did the stock actually fall such a significant amount? Let's quickly delve into some of these details, right? So let's look at some of the news, right, surrounding Nikola. So if you've been following Nikola, right, there is actually this Hindenburg research paper, right, that is actually very damaging for this company, right? So this is actually an independent company that does research into public listed companies, right? So he actually did a research for this company called Nikola, right? So he actually titled this article, Nikola, How to Parlay an Ocean of Lies into a Partnership with the Largest Auto OEM in America. It was published in 2020, right? So it's actually very damaging for Nikola, right? In a sense that it actually, the first line already revealed that, this is actually insinuating, right, that this company is, an intricate fraud, right? It actually, there's a very damaging statement for the company, right? Because it is actually basically saying that the company is full of lies, right? It is actually, lying through its teeth. Yeah. And, it actually offered, a lot of evidence, right, in this article, right? I shan't go through, it's actually a pretty long article that goes into the nitty-gritty details of Nikola. So if you're interested, right, you could always check out the URL here, right? So, but basically, in summary, right, it is basically, pointing out that it is a fraud, right? It's a company that is dealing with fraud, right? So actually, it uncovered some of the lies and deception by this company. And it even mentioned there was this promotional video, right, where it actually showed a truck rolling down a hill, right? It was trying to showcase its latest technology in the truck, right? But eventually it was discovered that it was just a gimmick, right? The truck was actually, not really working, right? So that was admitted by the company as well, right? So it's actually, admitting to some of the lies that it made, right? And this story actually, garnered attention in the mainstream media, right? So thereafter, there are more investigations into the company, right? So this is something you might have to take note of if you're thinking of buying this stock, right? Because this is a pretty negative news for the company. Yep. And this can actually mean that the company can go bust, right? Because it's not doing a proper business, it's actually lying through its teeth. Yeah. But of course, there is other perceptions, right, to this negative catalyst, right? So this is another article, right, from seekingalpha.com, right? So you also mentioned about these fraud charges, right, in this article, right? But it actually mentioned this in a positive light, right? Because this is actually a very recent piece of article, right? And it actually mentioned, right, that this was negative for the company, right? But it actually updated very recently, right? That it will actually pay, right, the penalty, right, for the fraud, right? And it will actually seek reimbursement from this guy, this founder who actually was the main guy behind all this fraud, right? So he's actually not with the company anymore, right? So the company actually seek reimbursement from him, right? So the company would mitigate any damages, right, to them, right, since they're claiming from this individual himself, right? And so that is good news, right? Because it reduces the company's liability, right? And it is this article offers the opinion, right, that the investigation is closing, right? It's coming to an end, right? And because the charge, right, was against the company, right, that was Nikola, right? So in other words, right, this company, might might not be doing so bad, right? And it tried to offset the financial damage, right, by actually getting from this individual down here, right? So once they have settled this this fraud case, right, they can move on, and that could be a catalyst for the company moving forward, right? So that is something that you have to watch out for, right? Whether they can actually come out of this negative news, right, and eventually scale new heights. It's a question that we all have the answer for. Yeah, but this would definitely has to be in the back of mind if you are thinking of buying Nikola, right, in the near future. Right. So let's also look at some of the recent prices, like as of a few days ago. Right. So actually, on this recent day, right, on 8th of March, right, it actually opened right at about $6.62, right, and it actually closed at 7.55. So you work out the math, right, it was actually up by quite a big amount, 14% increase, right? And you might be asking, why did it have happened, right? Does it seem like this stock is making a rebound? Like, is it going to continue to go up in future, right? Since this is quite a convincing green candle, right? So let's look at some of the recent news, right? So this is taken from Fox, right? The 8th of March, right? So actually what is written down here, right, is this hydrogen truck maker Nikola, right, leads EV stock rally as Biden cuts off Russian oil. So we get this idea, right, that the rally could actually be related to the Russia-Ukraine war. Right, so we read on, right, in this article, right? So basically, right, it actually delves in the details, right, of what happened, right? Why do we see that 14% gain? Right. So he actually mentioned here that the US were cutting off import of Russian oil because of the Russian Ukraine war. They're trying to penalize Russia for it, right? And as a result, right, because it will cut off the oil supply, right, the price of oil will actually go up even further, right? And Nikola being a company doing with electric vehicles and hydrogen, right? It offers the alternative to oil, right? So people might flock to the alternatives in view that oil price has increased, right? So this might be the catalyst behind this stock price increase, right? So it's mentioned here that it's 14% increase, right? And in general, right, they did mention that investors seems to be moving to renewable power in general, right, with the spike in oil prices, right? So companies like Nikola might benefit from this, right? So, but they did also mention, right, that this could be a knee-jerk reaction, right? So that means that it might be short-lived, right? But in the longer term, some analysts are still projecting, right, that this might actually accelerate adoption of electric vehicles or hydrogen players, right? So all those alternative energies might actually benefit from this geopolitical situation involving Russia and Ukraine, right? So, but we do have to take note, right, that this is just one of the many companies out there, right? There's Tesla, there's Nio, there's a lot of other companies, right? So this company might not continue to rise in tandem with the other EVs or hydrogen companies. Yeah. So yeah, going through all the recent news, right, of Nikola, right? I think the question now you have is, what is the future direction of Nikola, right? And to answer that, right, being the trade engineer myself, I will look at the technicals behind it, to give us, a better insight of what is to come for Nikola. Yep, but before I do so, right, if you have liked what I've been showing so far, don't forget to click that like or love button, so that I know that you are liking this content, and I will continue to deliver such content to all of you every week. So without further ado, right, let's check out the price chart. And to do that, right, let me switch my screens once again, right? And here's the price chart for Nikola, right, on a daily basis, right? So over here, right, you can see a few indicators, right? So first of all, I have the downtrend line, right? They have been tested numerous times in the past, right? Here was tested a few times over here, and even recently it was a few times, right? Before it actually strongly broke out on the 8th of March, right? So ever since then, after breaking out strongly, right, on the 8th of March, it's been trading above this downtrend line. So that's a good sign, If it continues to trade above the downtrend line, that could mean that prices might make a move up to the upside. But we do have to watch for that confirmation. Right. So the other thing that I would like to point your attention up, right, is to this horizontal line, right, this bottom horizontal support, right. So what we see down here, right, is that this price about 6.5, right, 6.4 to 6.5. Right, this horizontal support was tested numerous times as well before in the past, right, 3 times in fact, right. So this can be seen as quite a strong support, right. So if it continues to be supported at this level, right, that is also a good sign, right. It means that maybe prices have bottomed out at this support, like people are coming in to buy at this level. And the other thing we have to take note, right, is on the MACD itself, right? MACD, recently we have seen a crossover into the positive region, right? So if this maintains, right, if this continues to be positive, we might also see an upside for Nikola, right? But on the other hand, right, let me point your attention to this horizontal resistance level. Right, this is about 8.7, right? So 8.6 to 8.9 thereabouts. So this resistance line, right? Unfortunately, right, the price is still trading below this resistance line, right? So to really see the upside, right, if it's going to be a sustained trend, right, it first has to clear this this resistance level as well, right? But of course, if you want to do some scalp trading, right, you can take profit at this level as well. And the other concern we have, right, because on the last trading day, this is a pretty red candle, right? So we don't know whether this price will continue to be supported by this downtrend line. Currently, it's trading above this downtrend line, right? But we don't know for sure whether this will continue in the future, right? So there is a concern, right, that if the price fall below this downtrend line, might test the support once again, right? And whether this support remains is another question mark, right? And last but not least, right, the whole overall market is very volatile, right? We have the Russia-Ukraine war, and we also have that negative news surrounding this company, right? So anytime, depending on the outcome of that news, right, this company, the stock price for this company might, either make a huge upturn or a huge downturn, right? So that's, a summary, of the technical indicators behind this company. And with that, let me move back to my slides. So there is a day chart again, and right. So we have seen, right, the breakout of that downtrend line. So convincingly on the 8th of March, right, the very day where it increased by 14%, right, and ever since then it's been trading above this line, right. It's still supported by a horizontal support, right, that we drawn earlier, the bottom horizontal line, and this was tested 3 times in total. Also, we saw the daily MACD, right, had seen a crossover into positive region. However, on the bear side of things, right, it's still below the resistance line. It hasn't crossed that resistance, right? So we don't know whether that would be the level that will be resisted. The price will still be resisted, right? And we don't know whether the price would fall below that downtrend line, right? Currently trading above that downtrend line, but the last trading day was red, a red candle, right? So we're not sure whether that downward momentum will continue, right? Oh yes, and the hourly MACD is negative. This was something I didn't share earlier, but let me quickly go into the hourly time scale, right? So this is the hourly time scale, right? And if you look at the MACD itself, right, you can see that it has turned pretty negative. In fact, the gap is widening. Right? So this is something you have to be mindful of, right? In the short term, it might be a bit bearish. Right, let me quickly go back to the slides again. Right, so that is a bearish indicator that you might have to take note of. And as always, right, the whole market sentiment is volatile now, so we do have to be very mindful. So what should we do for trading, right? So over here is my own suggestion. Please do not take it for granted, right? It is just my own opinion, right? Do your own due diligence as always, right? So if price is actually supported by the downtrend line, right? If the price continues to trade above that downtrend line, we can perform a scalp trading, right? So that is supposed to be short term in nature, right? So what we can do, right, is actually we can enter a buy position and set the take profit at that first resistance line, right? I mentioned over here, right? About 8.6 to 8.9 US dollars. But of course, you have to put a cut loss, and please set a tight cut loss for this, right? Because if not, if it breaks below that horizontal support, right, it could go downhill pretty quickly, right? So that's the second point I like to point out on, right? If price break below the horizontal support, right, it could be a falling knife down, right? And we have to wait and see to see where's the next support level. And as what I mentioned at the start of this segment of Nicola, right? There is that negative news of fraud surrounding this company, right? It hasn't been resolved yet, right? There are different articles, surrounding this fraud. Some say that this fraud is engraved in this company. Some say that this company might eventually emerge from this fraud. Because it is actually penalize the founder himself instead of the company, right? So regardless, whatever the case, we do have to be mindful that there's this negative news surrounding this company, and this can actually influence the stock price whenever there's any developments surrounding this news. And besides the news of the company, you also have to check the news in the macro economy, right? So with the whole Russia-Ukraine war, right, we do have to be very mindful of that because it will affect all stocks in general, right? Yep. So that is my conclusion for Nicola. And if you like our sharing for today, right, don't forget to like or love this video, right? Click the like or love button, and you can also click that share button, right, to share with some people that you think will benefit from our sharing today. Yep. And if you're joining us for the very first time, right, you can follow us on our social media pages, right? I have my Instagram, my Facebook page, my Instagram, my Twitter accounts, right? The handles are found here. Likewise, FINANCIALMissy has hers, right, on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, and leave a comment, right, on what you think of sharing today, as well as suggest the next stop for our next sharing, right? So you can just leave it in the comment box below. Yep, and as always, right, we do this every Sunday, right? Just another reminder to all of you who are joining us for the very first time, right? So we do this every Sunday at 4 p.m. So we alternate between my page and FINANCIALMissy's Facebook page. Yep, and just another shout out, right? Another reminder, right? That I have another, Facebook live session, right? Upcoming for today, right? So it is going to be held at 9:30 p.m., right? This Sunday evening, right? And we'll be talking about 7 steps, right? To weather through the current market volatility, right? So, as we all know, the current market is very volatile, right? Prices for various instruments are going shooting up and down, making big price fluctuations, right? So you want to know how you can actually survive through this period of time. Then do check out my video, right? Upcoming on at 9:30 p.m. Right, and with that, right, that concludes my sharing for today. I shall leave the rest of the time for Financial Missy to delve into the other details for Nicola. Right, so till then, I'll see you all next week, next Sunday at the same time at 4 p.m. for our next stock pick. Yep, see you guys then. Goodbye.
Right, isn't it amazing to what our dear trade engineer actually just shared with us? I think most of us will be able to learn a lot from what he actually just shared with us, right? So it's been a very exciting journey. But one thing that I would like to highlight to investors out there is that for all investors out there, if you guys are actually looking at investing in any company per se, not necessarily Nicola, please do consider to do your own due diligence based on technical analysis of entering and exit, and most importantly, to actually look at the fundamentals to determine whether the company is worth your time, worth your investments. Most importantly is that do not based on any news or any speculations of entry, that will not be very reliable, because news is always delayed. It is not there and then on the spot that is so updated. So please do your own due diligence. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to share with you guys. Do like my follow like this post, and follow me and the trade engineers post as well. It's been very exciting to actually be able to share with you guys on a weekly basis. So please do comment and chat below on what are the other stocks that you would like us to actually discuss after this, right? So please comment below. Thank you. Adios, guys. See you guys next week.